I recently passed AWS Solutions Architect-Associate exam, and in this video, I will reveal the strategies and the study material that I used to pass this exam on the first attempt. The AWS Solutions Architect-Associate exam is intended for the individuals who can perform the role of a solution architect. The exam validates a candidate's ability to design solution based on AWS well-architected framework. AWS has certification based on the role that one can perform. It is highly recommended to first complete the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification and then target the AWS Solutions Architect Associate certification. AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate certification is a great starting point on the AWS certification path for the individuals who may have any of the following. Number one, strong on-premises IT experience. Number two, a beginner level of experience in AWS technology. Number three, fundamental understanding of mapping of on-premises to cloud services. Number four, experience of any other cloud service providers like GCP or Azure. Number five, a basic understanding of programming language would be an added advantage like Python, SQL, NoSQL, but it is not mandatory. And last but not least, anyone who is interested to learn cloud and get into cloud. Well, please keep in mind that while registering exam, AWS does not check any of these conditions. Anyone, even who is in his college or college pass out, can take this exam. However, these are some of the prerequisites which are good to have so that one can pass this exam on his very first attempt. So what you will learn during the certification study process. Number one, knowledge and skills in the compute, networking, storage, and database AWS services. Number two, AWS deployment and management services. You will also learn how to deploy applications on AWS. Number three, how to deploy, manage, and operate workloads on the AWS, and how to implement the security control and compliance requirement on AWS cloud. Number four, during the study process, you will also learn about how to use AWS Management Console and AWS Command Line Interface. It will also make you familiar with the understanding of AWS well-architected framework, AWS networking security services, as well as AWS global infrastructure services. Number six, you will be able to identify the services in the AWS to meet a given technical requirement and to define the technical requirement for AWS-based applications. So what is the exam format? So basically there will be two types of questions in the exam. One is multiple choice in which there will be one correct response and rest of them will be incorrect response. And number two, multiple response in which there will be two or more correct responses out of five in which you need to select two or three based on the question and there is no penalty for guessing. The passing score is 720. The results on the exam are reported as a scaled scoring model on a scale of 100 to 1000. The minimum passing score is 720. The score shows how you have performed on the exam as a whole and whether you passed or failed. The scaled scoring model helps to equate the score across multiple exam forms that might have different difficulty levels. The total number of questions in the exam are 65 and unscored exam content questions are 15. These 15 questions are randomly placed in the 65 question. These 15 questions does not affect the total score. But as an exam taker, we do not know which are those 15 questions. AWS basically collects the information about performance on this unscored question to evaluate this question for future to be used as a scored question. The unscored questions does not get identified on the exam. So in the exam content outline, there will be four domains which will get tested during the exam. So number one is design secure architecture, and this carries the weightage of 30%. Number two is design resilient architectures, and this carries 26% of weightage. Number three is designing high performance architecture. It carries 24%, and number four is designing cost optimized architecture, and that carries 20% of the weightage on the exam. So basically for the preparation, I use four primary resources. I will leave the link in the description below. The first resource is course from Neil Davis, which is available on Udemy. It covers all the aspects of exam syllabus. Number two, Tutorials Dojo Notes, which are available on their website. One of the important section on this website is comparison of different AWS services. This will clear a lot of confusion as several AWS services has overlapping or distinct feature offerings. Number three is AWS well-architected framework. So this framework basically helps cloud architects to build secure, high-performing, resilient, and efficient infrastructure for a variety of application and workload. It is very important to go through this PDF or blog at least once before you actually appear for the final exam. Number four is AWS exam preparation official practice question. These are the official practice set question sets provided by AWS, and it's good to go through them once before you actually appear for the exam. Strategy number one, taking notes. Taking notes while going through the course material is very important. I have taken notes according to the different AWS services. For example, compute, storage, networking, database. Once I have watched the complete video course of Neil Davis and completed the AWS official study guide review, my entire focus was on my notes only. If you are interested in my notes, please let me know in the comment section and I will be happy to share you the link of my notes. Strategy number two, taking multiple mock tests. Please do not limit yourself with only one or two mock tests. This is because the more question you attend, it will trigger and test your recall ability and also fundamental understanding of choosing the right AWS service on the day of exam. So these are the my mock test exam scores. As you can see, as I was progressing further, my mock test scores were getting better. So it is very important to give multiple mock tests. Strategy number three, habit of reading question twice. I took 6 to 7 mock tests and I realized that when we read the question, we tend to arrive at the answer or conclusion very quickly and as soon as possible. But this approach leads to sometime leading to choosing a wrong answer. So I decided to read the question at least twice or glance through, even though I am very much sure. And this strategy has helped me a lot to improve my scores in the later stage of mock exam and on the day of exam. Strategy number four is eliminate wrong answers first. In the exam, most of the questions will be scenario based and they will provide 4 or 5 options to choose from. Once I have read the question, I used to think like a consultant or as if I'm in a meeting in front of customer and then visualize the entire problem statement and then choose the best option. Linking the academics to the Excel situation has helped me a lot to arrive at the right solution or right answer. In the exam, there will be multiple right answer and you need to choose the best one. So I use the strategy of striking out the distractors first. For example, out of 4 options, there are two clear-cut distractors. Then I will eliminate those first and then think about the remaining ones. This has helped me a lot to arrive at the right answer. Strategy number five, go beyond theory. This exam is hard and it tests you on assuming that you already have some experience with AWS and you are from IT background. So you need to clear your fundamentals very well before you appear for the exam. For example, you need to be very clear about the concept of highly available architecture, load balancing, hypervisor, Docker container, basics of migration, basics of programming language. Though the hands-on experience is not mandatory, but it is good to have. So it is highly recommended to get yourself familiar with the fundamentals and also the AWS Management Console and AWS CLI. I will be preparing more videos on this topic to bring you more details on weekly study plan, Pearson View online platform do's and don'ts, tips on the day of exam, what is scaled scoring in AWS, how the passing percentage is determined, and the next steps after the exam. So if you like such genuine content, consider to hit subscribe and like button as it take a lot of efforts to make such detailed videos. Thank you.